Good evening. I'm Detective Mirage. I understand you're here to confess to a crime.
Yes. Several crimes.
Would you please state your full name for the record?
Damien Harrow.
What is the nature of these crimes you are confessing to?
Murder. Homicide in the first and second degree.
Familiar with the terminology, are you?
I know enough.
Know enough of what?
Enough to justify my actions.
Justify? Can you elaborate on this belief?
I believe that my work is necessary.
Your work?
It's a job, nonetheless. One that carries weight, deciding on who lives and who dies.
Do you believe you reserve that right to play God?
It's not a belief. It's clarity.
Oh, clarity, is it? In what way?
The world is black and white. Simple as that.
Are you suggesting that because you feel justified in your actions, they aren't wrong?
Who are we to weigh in on morality? Wouldn't that also constitute a divine territory?
That's a dangerous mindset to have. Have you stopped to consider that there may be consequences?
Consequences. I maintain that this is merely an obligation.
Would you say you believe you're above the law? Damien, do you ever question whether you are wrong? That your beliefs are simply those of delusion?
Delusion? You think I'm delusional because I have vision?
Killing people because you feel above them? For a sense of control, perhaps? I define that as delusion.
I am not delusional! I see the world for what it is, a vision that you and no one else seems to get.
And what vision would that be, Damien?
Bad people deserve to have bad things happen to them.
Like?
Like being made to suffer, coming to terms with the things they've done through pain. Like having their lives stripped away from them.
And yet, you claim to not weigh in on morality?
Morality indicates distinction, and there isn't any of that. The world is not a gray area. There's only good and bad. I just practice an eye for an eye philosophy.
Have you really never doubted yourself? Not even once?
Never.
What makes you so sure that your judgment is infallible?
Because they are useless! Worth nothing! They are filth, and I did what was necessary.
Damien, this anger is part of delusion. No one is in the position to make those decisions over someone else's life.
You don't understand. I need you to understand, Detective, that sometimes the ends do justify the means.
It was a necessity.
They each brought this upon themselves. I had to act.
Damien, I think you need to confront the reality of what you've done. Face the consequences of your actions.
Like being locked away?
Being held accountable, but those would be the means. Yes.
Powerless. Losing my freedom. My control.
How does that make you feel, Damien? The thought of losing control.
Without control, I am nothing. This is my purpose.
You are a person, Damien, despite whatever complexities you may have with the concept. And as a person, you have to understand there are consequences.
You have no idea what it's like.
You are more than just your actions, Damien, and I think you'd benefit by letting go of this need for control, for power.
Doesn't seem like I have a choice anyway, do I? After all of this, it's over.
Tell me about the murders, Damien. Start with the first one.
The first one. A colleague. One that would constantly belittle me and I would just take it.
So you feel it was justified?
I studied him. Memorized every single movement of his. And when the time was right, I acted.
You killed him?
I made him suffer. I saw the light slowly leave his eyes as I twisted that knife. I was powerful, and I decided his fate. But then, when I saw the realization on his face, I knew that he finally knew what I felt every single time I spoke to him.
What about the others? How did you choose them?
Anyone I deemed deserving.
Deserving?
Like a woman I met at the bar. Prideful as she marched around and reveled in all the attention. Only to find out that she was married.
So you killed her too?
Not even her charm could have saved her. Cornered her in the alleyway behind the bar. Her face unrecognizable when I was done. All that pretty makeup splattered against the brick.
Any others?
A journalist, a liar rather, one that would make false publications to build a name for herself. Unsurprising, really.
How did you do it?
I lured her in with the promise of a story. Clever girl. Thought she had the scoop, but in the end, it was inevitable. And she didn't even see it coming. But God, did she know how to talk. Though I managed to shut her up by putting a plastic bag over her head and watched her struggle for every single breath.
Damien, what was the reasons for these brutalities? Why so violent?
It's like you said, Detective. It's all about control. The power I have when they realize that they are helpless. At my mercy.
You are a murderer, Damien. A killer. Reasoning or not, you are not above the law.
I know. I've taken lives and I've done terrible things.
What does this mean for you now? Where do we stand in this conversation?
It means that I must face what I've done. Consequences are a part of the game.
The game? You still don't see this for what it is?
It's always a game. We're merely just players in it. Pawns even.
Damien, do you understand the severity of your actions? The potential consequences?
I do.
And you accept that?
Yeah, I do. I'm a bad person and I deserve to have bad things happen to me too.
You've made your confession, Damien. It's time to let this go.
Let this go? I will. I have absolved my guilt. My conscience is now clear.